Hey guys, I know only a very small percentage of you that are subscribed to me are going to be watching this video because probably most of my subscribers don't play Animal Crossing New Horizons. But if you're watching this video out of curiosity, you might be missing out. And the reason why I say that is Animal Crossing New Horizons is not your typical video game. I'm not really a video game person. Yes, I've owned video game systems over the years and played a little bit here and there, but this is the first time that a game has ever made me want to play every single day, week after week, month after month, and just not get tired of it. And I think one of the great things about the game is it's open-ended. There really doesn't have to be an ending. Whereas with a lot of video games, there's a story that has to play out, and once you reach the end of the story, that's it. I mean, you can play it again, but it's not really going to be any fun. But with this, it's more like a simulation of life in a way, except for the people or the villagers that are on your island are animals. And they're animals that behave like people. And there are all specific personalities, and some you're going to like more than others. Some you're gonna feel like you should like, but you don't for whatever reason. It's just gonna depend, I think, on who you are as a person, or what you're comfortable with, or what your experience in life has been too. I think is comes into play. So I discovered Animal Crossing New Horizons well, I didn't discover it, but I bought it last February, so February 2021. And before that, everyone was talking about it nonstop. And the things they were saying about it didn't make the game sound very interesting to me, because they kept talking about bells, which is their form of currency, and they talked about buying and selling goods and banging rocks, and it just didn't sound appealing to me. They talked about fishing and bug hunting, and I didn't think any of those things sounded like fun until I bought the game and started playing it myself. Then I realized it's one of those things that you kind of have to play it and totally immerse yourself in it. And just playing it like on somebody else's system isn't going to work, because when you get the game and it starts off, it um, it does have a bit of a storyline to it, and you're given certain tasks to perform to further the agenda of Tom Nook. Tom Nook is the one who owns and runs this island that you're going to be living on, and he has certain goals, and the only way he's going to accomplish those goals is for you to help him. Now, one thing I realized is that you don't have to rush through his agenda. You can drag it out and have it take as much time as you want to, and really savor every aspect of the game. When I first bought the game, I was so obsessed with it, and then I kept telling my husband about it, and at first he wasn't interested, but then he saw how much fun I was having, and I recommended that, he just give it a try. I said, if you don't like it, we can just delete your character, and that's the end of it. But I said, I really think you should give it a shot, because he used to like to fish in real life, and I knew at the very least that he would, enjoy that. So once he got into it, then, we both wanted to be on it all the time, and I was like, oh boy, maybe I shouldn't have suggested this, because now I can't get on there anytime I feel like it, because I have to share it. So in order for me to be able to play whenever I felt like, I actually went out and bought another copy of the game. But unfortunately, you can only have one island per Nintendo Switch system. So I had to buy a second Nintendo Switch system. Now, this tells you how obsessed I was with it. So I actually have two islands. And I have one island all to myself, and then there's the original island that my husband and I share. And as it turns out, I'm really glad that I ended up doing it that way because um, when you have to share an island with somebody, you also have to share the resources that are on that island. And there are certain things that if somebody else does it before you, then you don't get to do it. Like for example, the holiday event that just finished. Um, well, actually, it's just part of the winter season. What I'm going to talk about. One of the things that you can do in the winter is build snowmen. And then once the snowmen are there, if you go back and talk to them the next day or the day after that, sometimes they'll give you a large snowflake that you can use to craft recipes. Well, only one person is going to get a shot at getting that large snowflake. So, like, if my husband goes and talks to that snowman before I can, then I'm not going to get it. So I thought, this is really good that I have my own island. That way, if I don't get the resources that I want on the original island, I know I'll at least get them on my second island. So let's talk a little bit about the different things that are in Animal Crossing and my reaction to them and my reaction to them over time. What I'm talking about is recently with the 2.0 update, they introduced crafting food. And at first I thought, oh wow, this is going to be great. So I set aside this huge plot of land to grow the ingredients that I needed to make the recipes. And I was, picking my produce every day and collecting the recipes to make things. And I don't know why, but the newness of that wore off really fast with me. I started to feel like I was spending a lot of time tending to this garden and picking the produce. And after I had crafted a few recipes, it was like I wasn't as excited about it anymore, to the point where I don't even have a garden anymore. If you play, did this happen to you, or are you still really into that whole aspect of it? Because I got tired of that really quick. Same thing happened with the market thing that they have going on Harv's Island. At first I thought, oh wow, this is great. I can go speak to these vendors and shop from them anytime I feel like it. Well, because of that, it wasn't really special anymore to shop from them because then I could do it every day if I wanted to. So before, they used to come to your island and you never knew when they were coming and you look forward to it. And now it's like too available. So I don't even, not only do I not go to Harv's Island anymore and shop from these people, animals, but I don't even shop from them when they come to my island. So let me know if that has happened to you too. Um, the other thing was Kapp'n. I love Kapp'n. I brought his whole family into the coffee shop and met the whole family. If you have Amiibo cards, you can bring anybody to the coffee shop that you want if you have their card. So when he came, when I used his card to bring him there, he brought his whole family. So he's just a sweetheart. You can tell that he really loves his family and just seems to care about people. So I really like that character. However, I was really looking forward to seeing and experiencing a wide variety of islands, and I'm not getting that. The chances of you getting an island that is a different time of the day or a different season or the island that gives you the star fragments, very, very small chance. My husband seems to get those a lot, but I I've never gotten some of them. And then the ones that I did get that were rare were very rare indeed because I never got them again. So I just stopped going on the boat rides altogether. Um, I probably will go back to doing it though at some point because I do enjoy it. It's just I'm always disappointed that I don't get the ones that I want. Plus, now I don't have a garden anymore. So if I need resources because I do want to craft a recipe, a food recipe, that's one of the ways that you can get the ingredients is to go to a Kapp'n island. So you don't really even need the garden. Um, I touched upon Amiibo cards. I was obsessed at one point with collecting Amiibo cards, and there are, I think there's 500 villagers in the game now. Yeah, pretty sure. So I got as many cards as I could, but when I first started getting them, there were no Amiibo cards available at all, unless you bought them on Amazon or eBay from a third-party seller. And in a way, that was a good way to collect them because then I could get exactly the villagers that I wanted, but they were expensive. And after a while, I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy. You know, I used to spend a lot of money on makeup, and then I was spending a lot of money on Amiibo cards. So I stopped buying them. Right after I did that, they re-released the Amiibo cards at stores. And so that was a much more economical way of collecting them because you get 6 cards in a pack and it's a fraction of the cost compared to what it would be to just buy a single card from a third-party seller. So I bought a bunch of those of what I could find anyway because it was such a crapshoot to try to find those at stores because at the time Target was the only place that had them, and so it was very hard to get them, but I managed to come across some. So then after those supplies were sold out, then they released the new series um, of the latest series 5. I want to say 5, yeah. I believe that's the newest one. So between what I got originally and then what I got later on and then the newer ones, I have a pretty decent collection. I don't have all of them, not even close, but I have enough that if I want to bring somebody new to my islands, I can just scan an Amiibo card and do it that way. Now, if you don't have Amiibo cards, there is another way that you can get new villagers. You can wait for somebody to come to your campsite and decide whether or not you want to take them in, or you can wait for somebody to say they want to leave and tell them, yeah, it's okay if you want to leave, then go looking for a new villager on a mystery island, which the Wilbur and Orville, Wilbur will bring you to a mystery island if you have enough Nook miles to buy a ticket. So I was doing that for a while before I got the Amiibo cards and just using all my Nook miles to go on mystery islands. And that's when I decided, oh, this is crazy, going on so many islands trying to find specific people. So that's why I got involved in getting the Amiibo cards. But it is still fun to do it that way. Even though I have Amiibo cards, sometimes it's fun to see who they'll offer you. And it does give you an opportunity to talk to them a little bit and really get a good look at them and see if you think you might like them if they came to your island. Now, what I've noticed with the personalities is if somebody is if a villager is a specific personality, there isn't really much difference from one to another except for the way they look. However, there are some small differences here and there that I've noticed, and that is because it's not quite as cut and dry as you might think it is. There is some variation amongst the different personalities so that they're not all exactly the same. But you don't really know and you can't really tell until you've got them on your island and you really, really get to know them. I have gotten very, very attached to some of the villagers that I've had, to the point where I felt like I should be letting them go just so that I could try new ones because, you know, I have a pretty good selection of Amiibo cards that I spent a lot of money on. So I felt like I should be just, you know, getting rid of everybody. But I did eventually get rid of everyone that I started with, but there are certain villagers that I seem to like more than others, and it's more than just what they look like. It's um, something intrinsic in their personality that I can't quite put my finger on. And some of my favorite villagers, so I've been playing the game for what, 10 months now. Some of my favorite villagers um, are my favorite villagers for different reasons. The first one that comes to mind is Flo. Flo is a penguin. She is a starter villager. She's a sisterly, big sister villager. In Japan, they call them uchi. Um, because she was one of my first villagers, she'll always hold a special place in my heart. And so I've just recently brought her back after not having had her on either one of my islands for a long time. And she's she comes across initially like a typical big sister or sisterly character, you know, a little bit blunt. But once you get to know her, you can tell that, you know, you may be going to form a very close bond with this villager. And the other villager that I started with, I ended up getting rid of after I felt like I got to know him better or he changed. And I'm talking about Bud. Bud was my first starter jock villager, and I was crazy about him at first. But then the more I got to know him, the more he started acting like passive aggressive. And I was like, you know what? This is a game. I'm not gonna put up with somebody treating me like this. When this is a game, you know, sometimes you have to put up with people's crap in real life, but you don't have to put up with somebody treating you badly on your Animal Crossing island. So I ended up getting rid of Bud once he started acting like that. And I don't really know what prompted that because before that happened, we were like, I was this close to getting his picture. When you reach a certain friendship level with a villager, you get their picture to hang on the wall, and that more or less signifies that this is like one of your best friends. So I was so close to getting his picture, and then he started acting really weird, and I have no idea why. So I'm always kind of watching the jock villagers now to see if they're going to turn. But usually, you know, in the last few months, I haven't really had any villagers for a long, long time because I've been switching them out a lot. Another villager that it took me a long time to get his picture, but it was it was so satisfying once I did get it because it was a slow moving development, this friendship, but he was on my island for so long. But then when I finally got his picture, I was like, wow, I can't believe it took this long. I'm talking about Marshall. Marshall is a smug squirrel, and he's really cute. And yeah, I had very mixed feelings about letting him go or bumping him off, actually, because I just brought in another villager and more or less booted him out. So he never asked to leave because our friendship level was high throughout. But yeah, I still feel bad about that. And one time I had a villager that I really liked, Octavian, who's a cranky octopus, and he came up to me and said he wanted to leave, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking to myself, if he wants to leave, then you know, I should let him. But as soon as he was gone, I was completely shattered. And I was like, this is so stupid. This is a game. I can't believe how sad I am that he's not here anymore. So I bought his Amiibo card. And back then, you know, this is when you buy a single Amiibo card, it's expensive doing it that way. but I just immediately went online to see, you know, who had his card and how much it was going to be. And I bought his Amiibo card and brought him back right away because I was just so devastated when he was gone. I missed him more than I thought I would. So yeah. Who else have I really enjoyed? Um, there's been a lot, but those ones that I just mentioned, I think, were my all-time favorites, I would say. Flo, Marshall, Octavian, that would be like the whole eternity for me. Now, right now, I don't have Marshall or Octavian on either one of my islands, but I did bring back Flo recently, so that's been really nice to see her again. And plus now I get to see what her house is supposed to look like, because when your villagers are starter villagers, they have really crap houses. And there isn't anything you can do to change that unless you have the Happy Home Paradise DLC extension thing, which I don't have. I do like to decorate, but not to the extent where I want to base a whole game around it, and that's pretty much what that is. Um, the only other thing I wanted to talk about as far as this game goes is restarting the island. My original Animal Crossing island that I share with my husband is still the original island. However, the one that I have by myself, I have blown up that island and started it over again many times because the beginning process of the game is my favorite part. And so every time I start it over, I try different things. I try like dragging the game out and not jumping through the hoops that Tom Nook wants me to jump through to do certain things. And I try to drag it out actually as much as possible, but depending on what you want for the game, sometimes you have to give him what he wants in order for you to get what you want. And there's also certain problems that come up if you try to drag out the progression of the game. Like, for example, storage. If you don't keep getting rooms added onto your house, you're not going to have enough storage. So, for some reason, it never occurred to me that the next time I blow up my island, my second island, which is going to be very soon, what I'm going to do is, if I feel like I don't want to add on a room and I just need more storage, I'm just going to designate a specific part of the island to be my storage outdoors. Because just because you put something outside, nothing gets ruined in the game. If it gets rained on, snowed on, if it gets cold or hot or anything, and nobody steals anything either. You can leave something on the ground, and when you come back the next day, it'll still be there. Nobody's going to take it. I don't think. I've never had that happen. If you've ever had that happen, let me know. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try the next time I blow up and restart my island, is I'm just going to put all my stuff in a certain place so that I don't feel like I have to make the house bigger just for the storage. But there's also other things about the game that I like to drag out as much as possible. Adding more villagers. Sometimes there's something very satisfying about just having those two initial starting villagers and not having the island crowded with 10, I keep wanting to say people, 10 animals. Sometimes it's nice just having two, because sometimes, you know, it's like 10 is too much. I've heard people say they wish they could have more villagers. I disagree with that. I think sometimes it feels like 10 is way too many, because every time you turn a corner, it's another villager standing there. And in order to maintain your friendship level with them, you have to, or you should, talk to them. And then there's other things that go along with that too, with maintaining or building a friendship with somebody. Now, you don't have to have a perfect friendship with every single villager. That's totally up to you. But certain aspects of the game make you feel like you have to. They sort of hint around that that's what you should be doing. And then if you're not super friendly with somebody, it can like make you feel guilty if you forgot to talk to them one day, and then they might even say something about that. But anyway, this video has dragged on long enough. So what are your thoughts about anything that I just talked about? And whatever. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.